Welcome back, student. In previous video, we have a see chapter number 2, introduction, their content, sample, sampling unit, and the concept of a population. In this video, we are going to see what is the sampling, types of sampling, their merits, and the limitation. So, first, what is the sampling? Sampling is nothing but there is a selection of a sample, that is known as sampling. There are the two types of a sampling: random sampling, non-random sampling. Random sampling, they are classified into two types: with replicate, without replicate, and second is a non-random sampling, purpose sampling and the quota sampling. Random sampling, it is nothing but the selection of a sample randomly without any criteria, and non-random sampling, it is nothing but the selection of sample by the specific purpose, specific criteria, that is known as a non-random sample. That means, for example, selection of student by randomly, that is known as a random sampling. And non-random, that means we have select student on the basis of some criteria. For example, taking admission, there is a some purpose are, or the some quotas of student are contained. For example, OBC category student, there are the 5 vacancy or the 5 quotas. On that basis, sampling are classified. First, random sampling. Random sampling, it is nothing but the selection of individual from a population randomly. Such sampling is known as a random sampling. For example, selection of seed from the petri plate, that is known as a random sampling. The sampling are classified. The sampling are classified into the four types: with replicate, without replicate, systematic sampling, and the stratified sampling. With replicate, random sampling, the sample are select randomly in this type of a sampling. If you want to select individual of member population at the first time, that member has an opportunity with select at the time of a second time of a selection, that is known as a with replicate random sampling. Without replicate random sampling, the sampling done randomly. In this type of sampling, we select the number of individual at a first time, that should not consider in the second type of a sampling. There are the opposite concept in that. First, with replicate random sampling, in that, for example, we have to select number of individual at first time. At the second time, they can take a part in a sampling, that is known as the with replicate. And without replicate, for example, first time we select the number of individual, specific individual. At second time, we cannot consider them for the selection, that is known as the with replicate and the without replicate. See in the data, simple random without replacement. Without replacement, for example, we have select one sample, one number of individual blue color, one number of individual white color, one number of individual green color. It is known as a without replacement. Means that only one type of a sample are selected, another same type sample are not collecting or the selecting. In a with replicate, one two blue color and one white color balls are present. That means there is a having a chance more than the one individual can take part of a same manner or the same criteria, that is known as the with and the without replicate. Next is the systematic type of a sampling. This sampling is a random sampling. In this type of sampling, first unit are selected by randomly, and the rest of samples select by the specific design or hypothesis, that is known as a systematic sampling. For example, if you want to take a sample number 25 from the population 5000, we have made a one hypothesis. For example, hypothesis on the basis of a sample size, that is sample size. We have made some formula: k is equal to n divided by s. K, it is nothing but the sample interval. N, it is nothing but the number of population, S is a sample size. Let's see, put in the values of a problem in a formula. 5000 divided 25 is equal to 200, so that the sampling interval is a 200, that give a sample is a 200, 400, 600, 800, 1000, 1000 and 200, and until to the 5000. In this manner we can select the 25 sample from the population, that is known as the systematic sample. There is the first, we have consider any value randomly. We have consider 100, it is a random value. From the 100 we have 200 is a second sample, 400 is a third sample. In this manner we have to make some interval, and on the basis of interval sample are selection are done. There is a problem for you. If you want to select 50 sample from the 500 student, how will you select the sample from the population by systematic method? There is our formula, k is equal to n by s. N means number of population, s means sample size, and k means sample interval. Then 500 divided by 50, you get something answer. On that basis we are systematically sample are select. That is simple, systematic. For example, I will tell that in a first example, the first person randomly selected. In a first example, first person is a any randomly 100, 200, 400, 200, and the same interval between the first and second person is the same 200, and from second and third sample they having a same interval. On that basis sampling are done, that is known as a systematic sampling. Next, merits and demerits. This is simple and convenient method, and the time work reduce very much. If proper care are taken, then accurate result will be achieved. It can be used in an infinite population. Demerit, systematic sampling did not represent whole population. There are some personal bias during the investigation. That are the some merits and demerits. That are the sampling types and